Okay, so algebra, we're into 1-7 now. Today we're going to multiply. So we added 2 days ago, we subtracted yesterday, we multiplied today. So the little quiz you just got done doing, somebody with a voice tell me one of the add rules.
Positive plus positive equals positive add.
That's true. How about two negatives?
Negative minus positive is a bigger negative.
If we add two negatives, we get a
Oh, you mean that?
negative and we'll add. And then what's the rule for adding when they're different?
Positive is negative. It depends on the larger one. and
Depends on the
subtract.
bigger one, and we subtract. That's true. Then yesterday we did 3 more for subtract rules. So what was one of the subtract rules?
Negative minus positive is a bigger negative.
That's true. Negative minus positive is a bigger negative.
P minus positive is positive first is bigger.
Positive minus positive is positive, with the very important small word if. The first one's bigger. And then the last one is basically just symbols and not much with the way it words. Minus make a plus. Tomorrow we'll do that same 6 plus 3. So multiply today is nicer. Adding was kind of a pain because sometimes you added, but sometimes you had subtract. Subtracting is kind of a pain because sometimes you have to add and sometimes you have to subtract. And sometimes the subtracting rules make you rethink through the adding rules. It's like a whole big thing. Multiply is nice because no matter what, you're always going to multiply. And here's the rules. So 2 positives always will make a positive. 2 negatives, also positive. The only way you get a negative is if the problem has 2 things that are different. One of each. So one of each will make us a negative when they're different. As long as they're the same, we're going to get a positive, and that's our deal. When we get to the fraction part of this, it's also easier than what we've been doing. Because when you go to multiply fractions, you no longer have to make a common denominator. And you are able to do something that makes the problem smaller faster, which is to cancel. So that brings all of those kinds of things into play. So we'll work through this notes sheet in just a minute. The only other thing I should probably drop you a hint on is for decimals. For decimals, when we go to do this 5, 6, 7, 8 zone on this paper, for all of these problems, 2 times 4 makes something to do with 8s, so every answer has something to do with 8s. The question is, how do you know where the decimal goes? Because 5, 6, 7, 8 all have different decimals in different positions. How do you know where the decimal position goes when you multiply those?
When you multiply them, the decimal places together, so 0.2 times 0.4 would make 0.08.
Yeah, basically what we're going to do is we're going to count. So after we multiply, we're going to count every position that was on the right in the problem. So number 5, how many counts do you get on number 5? 3. The 0, the 2, the 4, they were all on the right of a decimal, so you need to make an answer that counts to 3. For 6, as she discussed, the count was only 2. The 2 and the 4, each number is on the right of a decimal, so make a count of 2. 7 has the biggest count. How much of a count do you get going on 7? 6. Each number had 3, so we have to count the 6. So what you're going to do with all of these places, the number part of the answer should go at the beginning or at the end of those 6 places?
Yeah.
At the end. All the way at the end is where you're going to stick the number. So who goes through all these empties then?
0.
Big bunch of zeros when you have all of those empties. So that's our strategy. Go positive as long as the problems are the same. Only go negative when they're different types in a problem, and that's pretty quick. Multiply no matter what, but decimals we're counting. Fractions you get to cancel. One thing about fractions, though, that is worth a mention. Which one can you not multiply right now? Which number in the fraction?
Or 12.
12. What do you have to do first before 12 is doable?
Make it improper.
Make those improper. Does anybody need a seminar to remind you how to make a mixed number into an improper? Because you have to, okay, we're going to take the bottom, multiply the whole number, and add the top. That's going to make a new top. You keep the bottom the way it was, but to make a new top, you do the bottom times the whole number, add that onto the existing top to make a new bigger top. Is that good? Okay, so we have to do that before we can multiply. If you want to just go straight across, you always can, but I like to cancel. So if you're a good canceler, canceling can make these problems littler right away. That's probably about it for instructions. Does anybody see anything that looks scary before you go rolling through these sample problems? Okay. Well, let's hit the stop and the people at home can pause. Okay, so here we go with some answers we think.
Negative 56.
-56, positive 56,
56.
positive 56, negative 56,
Negative .008.
-0.008,
0.08.
0.08.
Negative .5008.
It is a negative, a point, and 5 zeros and an 8. When you have those super long lists of zeros in decimals, you don't do a comma, but you do a little space after the third one. So go negative point, 000, little space, and then another 008. It just helps you to be able to count those a little easier. Keep going.
Negative .4. 4 zeros and then.
Yeah, take away 1 0 and it's otherwise the same. It's negative again, it's .000, a 4 0, and then an 8, and we're 8 for 8. Go man, go.
Negative .5.
It is negative a half if you reduce or cancel it the best way possible.
3/7.
Positive 3/7 is true.
1 1/3.
1 1/3 is fine, 4/3 is fine, but a minor mistake that he made.
Negative 1.
That one's going to go negative. Yeah, we're going to go negative, and then either 1 1/3 or 4/3. Whether you like mixed or improper, that's a style choice you start to make. But that was a nice run, 10 for 10. 12, what do you think? Keep going with you.
Negative 2.
Negative 2 is true. Cancels away all the fractioniness, and it's just a whole number now. 13.
7/8.
7/8. I'd go cancel mania there. Make your improper fractions, and then any top anywhere can cancel any bottom anywhere, and that's the quickest way to do that one. 14 looks scary, but it isn't.
I got 5,042.
Ha
0.
0. Why is that one an easy one? The ha is us.
Because anything times 0 is 0.
Anything times 0 is 0. So I did this big long thing, and then I sneaked a 0 in at the end. Anything that multiplies 0 just makes 0. So then 15 up
2.
is warm.
2 over 1.
Equal negative 2. If you get 3 negatives involved, it's going to turn up negative, but it is 2. Negative 2 is the best answer to that one. Does anybody need any guidance on how we just did any of that?
13.
Okay, 13. Make the 1 3/4 a 7/4. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what would you make the 1 1/5? Okay, so take the bottom times the whole number, add it on to the old top.
6/5.
6/5 is true. So that's our first move, make those impropers. Then I'd start to cancel. I'd cancel the 6 you just said with the 6 that I wrote with my own hand on 5/6. I would cancel the 5 on the bottom of what we just said with the 5 on the top of 5/6. I would cancel, we had 7/4 a minute ago. I would cancel the 4 from that one with the 4 on the first top. You good with all that canceling matches?
Yeah.
Then I would cancel the, no, I'm basically out of numbers. I canceled 6s, 5s, and 4s. So I'm just left with a 7 on top and an 8 on the bottom.
Okay.
Anybody, anything else I can do to help you out with with this page of notes to multiply with a high success level? Anything there? Okay, so how to work off of that is page 33. We're working from 1 to 20, and we can wrap up the record for a day.